I was cycling to work and just stopped on my bike and was like, I should just text everyone and like let them know. So I was like, I'm not going to end up with a man for the rest of my life. So like, that's that.
Hello, I am Kay Anderson, and you are listening to Lost Spaces, the podcast that mourns the death of queer nightlife. Every episode, I talk to a different person about a venue from their past, the memories they created there, and the people that they used to know. Seren Oakley is a multi-disciplinary artist and events organiser whose work is based on queer spaces and elevation of others, which includes marginalised groups like asylum seekers. Currently based in Leeds, England, she grew up in Swansea, Wales, where she found solace and community at a venue called The Scene, which hosted gigs for under-18s in the early 2010s. Is that what we're calling them? Not the teens? Not something else? Well, anyway, you know what I'm getting at, right? We talk all about making out in the car park, hosting your own events, breaking boys' hearts, and how the internet has helped queer people find community throughout the pandemic. What's Swansea like?
People call it the end of the line because that's where the train ends. If that gives it away, or like
so literally and metaphorically the end of the line, or
yeah, like shitty, gritty city, and people like just a lot of not great things. But people have like a love for it, I think. So people from Swansea love Swansea, but they love that it's like shit.
Yeah. Oh, is it one of those situations where they're allowed to complain about how shit it is, but no one else is?
Yeah, if someone else complained, I think people would probably like kick off. Like there's a lot of like internal in Wales, like Swansea and Cardiff hate each other, but I think they both hate on themselves as well.
Ah, okay. Yeah. And no one knows why they hate each other. It's just a rivalry from the ages.
Yeah, I think probably that's like been rallied up by sportsmanship.
Yeah, brilliant sportsmanship. Yeah. So what's it like growing up there then as a queer person?
I think it was a bit weird. I think you could always tell you were like pretty different, and I think everyone else knew. Like I went to Welsh speaking schools. So
can we have a quick class then? Can you tell me? All I know is Popty Ping.
Okay, what would you like me to say?
Today I'm going to wear the green dress.
Heddiw fyddai'n gwisgo'r dress gwyrdd.
What dress is dress?
Sorry, it's frock. I just forgot it for a second.
It's frock. So there's no Welsh word for dress?
No, not really. A lot of words are like interchanged. So like Welsh is like, I think a lot of English words come from Welsh and then vice versa. Like I found out the other day actually the word penguin, like the bird, comes from like Welsh.
Oh, okay.
Welsh dialect. So that's because like Welsh people named it first.
Because they found them first.
They have, maybe. They have like white heads, which is what that means.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so sorry, you went to a Welsh-speaking school.
Yeah, so I feel like, that probably had a big effect on how people came out as like gay and stuff, because there was a lot less education around like being LGBTQ because we were like learning everything in Welsh. So I think the vocabulary and everything was a lot like smaller. So you like knew like the one gay boy in your school. And everyone else was kind of like told they were like they were bullied, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That kind
How
of vibe.
common are Welsh language schools?
I'm not sure. It's probably a 50-50.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Spread. So I think it's increasing, like with how much money is being given to Welsh schools. So there's probably more now. But I've not been there in like 4 years.
And then so are Welsh-speaking schools viewed like differently to English-speaking schools? Like are they viewed lesser than or better than or?
I think it's quite strange because like Welsh people, because of the way English people came over to Wales, and then they kind of like, there was this thing called the Welsh Not. So like Welsh speaking people who couldn't speak English at all weren't allowed to speak Welsh in school. Mm-hmm. So, and if they did, they had to wear like a big wooden plaque around their neck. This is like 5-year-old kids on a chain that said Welsh Not, and they'd get like punished. So they like kind of pushed Welsh out of a lot of schools to make room for English like settlers, I guess.
When was this?
And this is only like a couple 100 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and then the Welsh language died off a lot, and now it's like mandatory. So like when you go to a Welsh school, you're not allowed to speak English unless you're in an English classroom.
Oh, okay.
Or you get like detention or something like that. So a lot of kids found it really uncool to speak Welsh. It was like cooler to be at an English school for a lot of people who were like more rebellious, I guess, with being like, I don't want to be told what to do.
Isn't that the point of school?
Yeah. Exactly.
But do people view like the quality of the education on par?
I think that really depends. Like I knew quite a lot of like coastal English speaking schools that had a lot of money and had like really good grades, I guess. But yeah, mine was like, the grounds was like in a council estate, and it was really a mix of people. It was just like, because Welsh speakers, I guess, were just dotted around. So it was like a lot. Yeah, it wasn't quite based on like where you lived or what catchment. It was more just like you go as far as you can to go to the Welsh school.
So is your first language Welsh or English?
Yeah, pretty much. It's English now because I live in England, but yeah, it was Welsh.
Ah, how exciting. But so you're saying that like in the school, there was one child who was visibly gay, and like he kind of set the warning signs for anyone else.
Well, I think he was just like so confident that people were like, it's fine that they're gay.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you were saying the opposite. I thought you were saying that because he got bullied so much, everyone else stayed in the closet.
No, I think everyone else just got bullied quite a lot, and it was like quite ruthless. So people kind of just quietened down their queerness.
Why was he so confident?
I don't know. I don't blame him though. He's great. Like, but yeah, everyone else kind of like went out of school to find their like queer friends.
Yeah,
I guess, and that's kind of like where queer groups and emo groups and all like the art kind of like little collective stuff.
Oh, I wonder if anyone's ever done a Venn diagram to see what the overlap between queer and emo is, because I'm pretty sure like it must be like 90% of emo kids are queer.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, every time I meet a queer person who isn't, I'm a bit surprised.
You didn't have an emo phase? What?
I guess a lot of the time there are people who like find out a bit later. Or like open up about it a bit later, I think.
Yeah. So you were not out in school.
I was.
Oh, you were out. Okay.
Yeah. So like year 7, or I guess like 12 years old.
Okay. What happened?
Well, I only came out to people at school, but then it was kind of like I'd get like mad stuff. So it was just a case of like getting rumors spread more than anything actually happening. I wasn't like, I like kissed some girls and like I dated a couple of people, but it was never like really like being queer. It was just being like pretending I was bi, knowing I was gay, and then being like, I'm gay, but I'll date guys.
What's that? What's that thought process?
I think it was just because I wasn't like totally comfortable with being like, I'm very queer as like a 14, 15-year-old.
But you verbalized that you were gay, but you were willing to date guys.
Yeah, I think it was like to like looking back on it, probably like to not have to deal with like the backlash of like some homophobia or like not making friends with people or something. Like, because you're like, oh, if you like hang out with guys and you're like, I might still be interested at that age. I think it like opens you up to making a bit more friends, which is sad, and that's like a bad reflection on how guys respond at that age. But yeah.
So did you date any guys?
Yeah, but it was always kind of like, I felt like, oh, if you're a girl, this would be really fun. But it's
if you didn't have this thing like, dangling.
Oh, I'm gay. Yeah.
Did you break any boys' hearts then?
Yeah, I think I made a couple of people cry, and that's not really the proudest thing I've done.
But let's talk about it anyway. So
Okay.
what happened?
um I remember once when I was 17, I don't know what I was doing, but we used to go to this place, like loads of young queer people, called The Scene, and they'd let like underage people have gigs until like 11 p.m. So all my mates would play gigs. We'd all go see them. The tickets were always like £3. So we'd all like convince our parents. Like, so I'd tell my parents, like, oh, can you buy us like a bottle of wine for like me and four people? That everyone would do that. And then we'd all like collect alcohol.
Wait. Underage?
Drink it. Yeah, so like 16,
Oh,
17.
okay. Sorry, I'm being the moral police here. Like, your parents bought you wine. Sorry.
Yeah, I think they thought we were all going to consume like a tiny amount each, but we drink really quickly before the gig, all go in, dance to like rock music, and then go outside and all make out, like all these little like teenagers. So I kind of just like started hanging out with this guy who owned a motorbike and was like, yeah, cool, like whatever, like I don't really know why I'm doing this, but you seem like a nice guy. And then like took him to one of these gigs, and then he witnessed what we kind of like got up to, and then started crying and was like, oh, and I was like, I'm gay, like.
So what do you mean he witnessed what you got up to? What were you getting up to? Dancing or making out?
Like just making out, like everyone would just be like sitting around making out.
And he cried.
Yeah, it was.
What did you do to him? Like, how much had you led him on? Or was he just sensitive?
Not at all. Like when I dated guys, I'd always say like, I'm not going to get feelings for you. Like, straight off, like I don't know how to. So
that's like catnip, though. That's like as soon as someone says that, you're like, I'm going to make you love me.
I do not think that. I feel like we are different people.
Do you not? The unobtainable is suddenly like so desirable.
I feel like maybe like when I was a bit younger and I first like started getting into girls, but I think now I haven't got the time to be that kind of person anymore.
Oh, that's so sensible. Not even like somewhere, it's not like a conscious decision. Do you not like just have somewhere in you that's like, we'll see about that?
No, I think I just like love communication.
Oh, how boring.
Yeah, I know.
So you're like grown up and proper and stuff.
I wouldn't go that far, but like.
Oh, okay. So tell me more about, this club, was it called The Scene?
Yeah, so it was run by a guy called Kieran, who I think he still runs venues in Swansea, but yeah, he was in his 20s and he was kind of like friends with a bunch of the older ones in our group, I guess. And would, let us like host, well, I wouldn't host them, but my mates would like host events, and he kind of like made this space for like a lot of like, kids to go, I guess, because all the straight people at school were going to like these like underage nightclub vibe things. So it was like this place called Oceana, which was like similar, but they all wore like little dresses and danced to pop music. So I think all the queer people who liked cigarettes like went and smoked and made out at this place instead.
So, but it wasn't explicitly queer.
No, just kind of like people who were cool with it, and then like a lot of like trans and queer youth.
Because I'm really fascinated about how that kind of thing happens, like when something just gets taken over by queer people. Like it's not like that's not been the intention of why it's been set up, but suddenly I don't know if it's word of mouth, or I don't know if it's like someone who is influential within a circle of people says, this is where we're going now. Like, do you like?
I think it was like with this place and the group of people in Swansea that I hung out with, I think like everyone kind of like found some solidarity and like creative outlets. So I think it was like a lot of queer people inherently were like, okay, like I like art and I like music, and like that felt like something people could bond over without having to be like, oh, let's talk about being queer. or let's like talk about how we're okay with being queer. But I think those conversations just like came with like kind of like finding people. I think a lot of people were like introverted at school and stuff as well, so it gave them a place to be quite like extroverted. I think the alcohol like probably like
might have helped.
Yeah, lubricated that a lot.
Are there any queer people who aren't creative? Because that's like the only way you find people.
Probably.
It must be heartbreaking to just be like not have that way of starting conversations, or to feel sorry for yourself and write songs in your bedroom.
Yeah, I think that's what we were all doing at the age of like.
So did the making out just happen organically?
Yeah, I think because we were all like really good friends anyway, and like there was no like way for young people who were like, oh, I'm bi or I'm gay, to like go out and meet people outside of the small group of queer people in Swansea. But I don't think anyone really wanted to date each other because we were friends. So I guess a lot of the time we would just like make out.
What?
Yeah, because then we go back to like college or something the next day and be like, oh my God, I can't believe we all like did that, even though we do it like most weekends.
Again, like, was there not anyone who ended up getting their feelings hurt?
Yeah, probably. I feel like there's always...
But not you, so it's okay.
Yeah. I definitely remember crying at those gigs. Like, but I think we were all just drinking a lot. I think we were all just reckless teenagers. Yeah. I feel like this has gone just like confessions.
Yeah, underage drinking in Swansea. See, this is why I'm a bit like shocked that there were not more broken hearts, or that you don't have any recollections of them. Because when you're that age, like everything is so much more intense and everything is so exciting, and everything, like you just feel everything so much more deeply.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, I kind of want to mock the guy who had a motorbike and cried. But at the same time, I can understand like why he was feeling so many feelings.
Yeah, I get you. I think, I feel like probably because there was so much going on, and it was like such a whirlwind of people, just like every weekend, everyone was doing stuff, and like even in the week, and then getting drunk in the daytime, and everything was like 100 miles per hour, and like lots of socializing, and then like a lot of like crashes. I think it all kind of like melted into one, like overall as a social.
What do you mean by crash? Like
hangovers and like come downs and all that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that does dull your feelings somewhat when you're drunk or hungover.
Yeah.
So going back to you coming out. So you came out, but you were also like, hey, I'm still going to date guys. What? Yeah,
I feel like I made the bold decision to come out, and then it was still like very like half and half. Do I really want to like fully come out? And then like trying to convince myself. I think it was just internalized homophobia and heteronormativity being like, maybe you're just like attention seeking. Maybe you do like girls, but you have to like guys because, like, why wouldn't you? Like, they're good friends, like, and then like not really, and then still knowing deep down, being like, no, it's not fun. Like,
that's so interesting. So you came out to friends at 12. When did you come out to parents? Sorry, that's me making an assumption that you have.
Yeah, I did. Well, it was quite a lame way of doing it. I think at 17 I was like, I was cycling to work and just stopped on my bike and was like, I should just text everyone and like let them know. So I was like, I'm not going to end up with a man for the rest of my life, so like that's that. And then everyone was like, yeah, we knew. And I was like, no, you didn't. But okay.
So was it like a group text?
No, just like copy paste, like yeah.
And so you did this like on the side of the road when you were cycling to work?
Yeah, like 7:30 in the morning, like.
And then did you have your phone? Did you have to like turn your phone off for work, or did you have it on you?
I just had it on me. I told my boss what I'd done because I was already out to them, like, and yeah, my family was just like, yeah, cool, like,
So
whatever.
like thumbs up emojis and like...
Yeah, like it's still kind of like, I think, a bit shocked and a bit like, okay, well, that's that. But I think they slowly came around to it because like my brother's gay, my cousin's queer as well, so they have like no choice but to like get on board, really.
And so your brother is gay. Is it the two of you, or are there more siblings?
Just the two of us.
And is he older?
He's a year younger than me. Yeah.
But who came out first?
Me, and then I actually came out for him at a wedding, which was like chaotic.
Oh, that's not good.
No.
Oh, because I was going to ask, and I mean, I'm probably asking you to speak on behalf of your brother right now, which is not right. But other people have said to me, like when they've had like a gay sibling, they felt like there's more pressure to be straight.
Oh, wow. I don't know if either of us have felt that because we're very closer. Like I think we've become a lot closer now that we were like, well, we're queer. We have this like shared heritage that isn't like from our family, but it's something we share. So now we need to kind of like, we need to be friends and like get to know each other better, I think. So yeah, it's been quite nice. But neither of us have spoken about feeling pressured, and I don't think he felt pressured. Like the only reason I came out for him was like because he was cheating on some guy with some guy. That's probably as much as you'd want me to say, but but yes. And my grandma was right behind us, so I just turned around and was like, "Did you hear any of that?" And yeah, that was kind of that.
Wait, what? So you were like chastising him for his behavior, and then your grandmother overheard.
Yeah. So then I kind of just like outed him through being like, "You're being a horrible person. Like, you deserve to be outed." And he was like, "No." And then I did apologize in the end because I was like, that wasn't my place, I guess. Yeah.
But it was at a wedding.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what weddings are for, right? Drama.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going to do it somewhere like that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's like a generational thing. I think that when you are in a family where there's pressure for you to reproduce and have children, like 20 years ago, it seemed unfathomable to be queer and have a family. So it's probably like people from that generation that felt more pressure or felt more guilt for their parents if all the kids were queer. But you know, Katie Lang, I'm going to get this wrong. She's one of 4 and 3 of them are queer. It's just a little fact for you.
Okay, wow.
Apropos of nothing.
Yeah.
So coming out was fairly unremarkable.
Yeah, it was more of, I think the only backlash I really got was from school, but yeah. Like whatever. I don't even know those people anymore, so it's quite nice.
What was it kind of garden variety bullying?
Yeah, like I had kind of like some of the more like outspoken girls would in like IT class get pictures of like cats up on their screen and be like, "Oh, do you like that?" kind of vibe as like a joke about like pussy.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so I'd be like just like hyper embarrassed, like, "Oh my God, like what are you doing?" And just lies about me like I had a much more exciting sex life based on what was going round about me than what actually existed.
Like what? What were you doing in their imaginations?
Just stuff like apparently me and my best friend at one point were like having sex on the beach at the age of like 13 and just like mad stuff. So I was like, no, actually we went for like a picnic and it was just like, yeah, a lot more mundane. And someone bought me a Bible. Yeah, and called me a monster, basically.
Was it in Welsh?
It was wild. No, it wasn't, but they did give out Welsh Bibles at school.
That's so weird. I remember having a conversation with someone it was like in my first like job, and she was like, so this is when I lived in Australia, and she was like in her 40s or something at that stage, and we bonded because we were both from Scotland, like both of our families emigrated. And so like she kind of was like a, you know, not a mother figure, but like an aunt maybe.
Like matriarchal energies.
Yeah. And like, it's not like I was not out or anything. It just hadn't occurred to her that I was. And when she found out I was gay, she'd said to me, like, she was really religious. That's why, like, the Bible thing sparked this memory. She said to me, yeah, there's just something not right with you. And it's like, well, I mean, first of all, you said this to me at work. Like, what the fuck? Like, don't you understand HR laws? But it was just like, why would you feel the need to say that to someone? I don't understand people's religion compelling them to just be total assholes.
I really don't think all the time it's people's religion, though. There are a lot of very nice religious people.
Well, yeah.
I think it's like insecure people who happen to have a religion and then just like blame their religion for their inability to accept
but
others.
Is it, I don't know. You know, we live in a heteronormative culture, and religions are generally far more heteronormative than the general population. And if you want to believe, I can see why believing everything wholeheartedly is like the thing you do, and you don't question it.
Yeah, question everything. Queer people have been.
Yeah, they've had to. They've been forced to. Sitting in their darkened bedrooms, crying, writing songs.
Writing songs.
And the whole rub of it, like the most annoying thing about it was her daughter then, like 6 months later, had a gay best friend and she changed her mind about everything. It's like, what? So I'm not fantastic enough for you to change your mind, but he is. Anyway. And so when did you leave Swansea?
I left Swansea at 19 after doing like a foundation degree in art and design, which was like very much like, I need to leave Swansea, so I need to do an art degree to be able to leave Swansea. And then just chose someone that was like 250 miles away.
And was that far enough? Or could you have gone further?
Yeah, I think so. I think Leeds was just like somewhere I didn't know at all. So I was like, I'll just go for like the unknown, and then if I don't like it, there's like no like tie to it, I guess.
And so do you remember like your first days in Leeds and like what the difference was between Swansea and Leeds?
Yeah, I think I guess I was just very confident at that point, and I was still very into drugs, and I was very much like, this is me, this is what I'm doing, I live with you all, I respect you all, but like, I want space to be able to do what I'm doing. And then I like...
That's a good way to make friends.
Yeah. And I kind of like made a point. I was like, I have to like really push myself, I guess. So started organising events and started like trying to meet more people. And like, yeah, find different art communities and find people who were like excited to do things that I was doing as well.
And so... What is the queer scene in Leeds like?
If you're judging it based on like drag and stuff, which I think a lot of queer people in Leeds, there's quite a big drag scene in terms of like art performers and like artists. So I think there's a lot of like bi girls who make earrings, and then like trans activists and artists, a lot of illustrators, I think, and then there's a lot of like just a mesh of everyone doing drag. So there's a lot of like show bar drag queens who like RuPaul style, that kind of like your stereotype, I guess. And then alternatively to that, you've got clubs like Wolf Chambers where you get like the underground people who are kind of like, everyone's doing like, they're in a house or they're doing like different kind of drag. So it's like more non-binary, more like playing with gender instead of, so like I think that's kind of like where like my base is more at in terms of like, and I think that like links into like the club scene a lot as well.
And so with the queer scene changing a lot, with like venues closing and things shifting, do you think that's a bad thing, or do you think like that's just the way life goes?
I think it's a sad thing more than it is a bad thing, especially like with the pandemic. It's kind of helped a lot of queer people find each other online. So people have had to like get online and find people maybe they wouldn't usually like meet or go up to in person. So a lot of people have made like drag friends and stuff, or like, yeah, even the events I've organised, I've got quite a lot of like drag and draw things. So like, because I'm a life drawing instructor on the weekends sometimes, I've like done these like DJ set club night things, but there'll be like a drag performer who models for everyone to draw for like 30 minutes. And like, because I wanted to like get a wide range of like drag in it, so people aren't like, okay, it's just drag kings or it's like showgirls. I've met like loads of people, or like new people who wouldn't go to a big bar and be like, I want to do a drag performance, but people who were like, I've been doing drag on my own in the bedroom for like years, and now I want to like do something, and this is like a good intro. So I think the internet's helped people like form new communities, so like when everyone can like eventually go out again.
When is that?
They'll have like, yeah, they'll have people, I guess. Yeah.
And so what is it important that we focus on as a community going forward?
I guess like listening to everyone, probably. And like, if something's a bit different from what you're doing, like question it and like create more networks. So yeah, I don't know. And if someone's already doing something that you want to do, maybe like just help assist on that, and then do something else.
So listen to everyone, don't step on people's toes.
Yeah. As well, like if you are in a safe space or there's like an opportunity to be with queer people, maybe like preface it with like a check-in and an aftercare check-in, and just like see like, what can we do to keep this, maintain this, change this, even if it's just like hanging out with a friend or something. I think, yeah, it's all like communication. Like the more people communicate, the easier it becomes to just like do these things, I guess.
But do people get communication fatigue?
Maybe, probably. I guess you've always got to like give yourself some time like around what you're doing.
The difficulty in Britain as well is the way that British people communicate.
It's passive aggressive, or it's just passive.
It's just passive,
general.
yeah. Like, if someone ever says to me, "How are you?" and I don't say I'm fine, they like just don't know what to do with that information. Like just like, what? Huh?
Yeah.
What? Huh?
I've started changing it. Like, so I'll be like, "How are you feeling?" and let people answer that, and then like when I'm with people and I can see them thinking but they're not communicating with me, I'll be like, "Oh, what are you thinking?" and just ask it lots, and then people get a bit like, ugh, at first, like, you ask this question a lot, and then they kind of like start just answering it, and it's quite nice.
I guess it depends. Like, you know, sometimes when you start dating someone and then they keep saying to you, "Oh, what are you thinking?" and you're just like, "Shut up." Like, shut up. Like, yeah, that's not the right time to ask that question. You've not had that experience.
What, like with asking it?
Like when you started dating someone and they're like just super intense and they just want to know everything about you.
I'm probably that person. I'm not
gonna
like, I ask it to everyone. I definitely ask it to my girlfriend.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, good job we're not dating. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. I think the difference might be like with my girlfriend, I ask her what she's feeling as well. So it's probably even more intense. But yeah, it works.
Do you have any memories of your own queer scene that you want to share? Well, if you do, please get in touch. I want to create the biggest online record of people's memories and stories about queer clubbing. Go to lostspacespodcast.com and find the section Share a Lost Space and tell me what you got up to. Bonus points, obviously, for embarrassing photos. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as Lost Spaces Pod. For more on Seren, check out pulpquality.com, and I'll make sure to include all of her socials in the show notes for this episode. Seren is also the host of her own show, the Be Nice podcast, and if you check it out, you might discover that a little someone has been a guest on a previous episode. It's me. If it wasn't already painfully obvious, it was me. Lost Spaces is not only a podcast, but a concept record as well. I have been writing songs about queer venues and the people who used to live their lives there, and will be releasing songs over the next year. You can hear the first single, Well Grown Boys, which is also playing underneath my talking right this very second, on all good streaming platforms. If you like this episode, I would really appreciate if you subscribe, leave a review on the podcast player of your choice, or just tell people who you think might be interested. I am Kay Anderson, and you have been listening to Lost Spaces.